Hey my two friends, welcome back. If you were in the stock market last week, it was pretty sweet, isn't it? If you look at the Nasdaq index, during the past 5 trading days, it regained 5.29% of losses. This is an index. This is not like a very volatile individual stock, even though I would say the index, especially Nasdaq, was pretty volatile over the past month or so. But it is still pretty crazy and pretty good for index to do something like to recover in such a way. And overall, it was pretty nice and sweet. And our individual stock, which is what we talked about in our last video, the Nvidia stock was doing really nice as well. Over the past 5 days, 5 trading days, it recovered 18.9%, rise from the low of 105 to now 125-ish, which meets our expectation of the 20% recovery, which is really great because we were hoping that is what is going to happen. And we did get there. Our own trading portfolio, if you look at the trading portfolio I share with you guys all the time, which I have full transparency, now it's above the 100,000 mark, which I'm really happy about. And over the past week, it went up by a solid 20,000, mostly thanks to Nvidia's going upward. That's really awesome. But now, as you can see, I've get rid of all my positions in Nvidia ahead of the earnings next week. I'll tell you why. I'll explain my reasoning for that. First of all, again, I'm really happy about what happened last week to Nvidia. It meets or even beyond my expectation. I didn't expect it regain 20% so quickly. I thought it would be there is a decent chance sometime into next week, right ahead of the earnings, there will be this chance that Nvidia recovered most of its losses earlier this month, as we mentioned, because of the liquidity issues coming out from Japanese stock market. After some analysis, we do think there are strong signs that Nvidia is in a tremendous lead in terms of AI hardware, and the AI computing power is just unparalleled at this current stage. And we believe that the AI boom, this AI area is far from over yet. We held more than 700 shares last week, and it regained 20%. But now we have a tricky spot. The Q2 earnings of Nvidia is scheduled on August 28th, 2024. So a little less than 2 weeks from now. And we're looking at Nvidia yet sitting at a $3.06 trillion market capital, and it have gone up 20% over the past week. Now we have a decision to make. Should we hold Nvidia and risk the regression into the earnings? Or if you're like me, pretty content with what we've got from buying the dip at $100 average to now 125, right, have over 20% gains over the past week. Okay, apparently you see my decision. I'm quitting all my positions of Nvidia. If you look at the market capital of Nvidia right now, if you compare that with, for example, Microsoft is now just a mere $50 billion more market capital than Nvidia. And Microsoft is a well-rounded company and have much higher revenue as well as net profit than Nvidia. But Nvidia is closing the gap, to be fair, and it has a good reason to have its market capital surpass Microsoft. But overall, $3.6 trillion is very high. There's only 2 players in the entire world in the stock market that has higher market capital than Nvidia right now. And the other one, of course, is Apple. So Apple is a little bigger than the two others at this moment, sitting at a market capital of $3.43 billion. trillion dollars. But do you think at this moment Nvidia's business is stronger than Apple's? Again, as I mentioned, maybe after the Q2 earnings report comes out from Nvidia, it'll once again blow investors' mind, blow the Wall Street's mind, and again raise its price target of its stock and slap right on my face. Like it may very well go up 10% more or even more than that. But on the other hand, a slight slip on any of the crucial numbers, the key metrics that the Wall Streeters care about, that'll be a disaster to the very high valuation. And even though this is a trading portfolio that I have the full transparency and share with you guys all the time, I don't want to risk the regression for 10%, maybe a little more than 10%, maybe less than that, on top of the already very happy 20% of gains over the past week. At 100, I feel it's a hot deal. It's really a good deal for it, almost a steal from Nvidia a week earlier. But because of the rapid growth this week, and because all the hypes, all the expectations, the super high demanding from Nvidia into the Q2 earnings, I'll just chill for now and quit my Nvidia positions just to sit there here a little bit. But at the same time, it's not like I'm leaving the market because I'm too fearful for any uncertainty coming out of in the coming weeks or months. I'm still holding some AMD positions, and I may very well add more shares in the coming weeks. Let me explain you my reason. I shared in my previous video that AMD has a very solid Q2 earnings report that it's already out like 1 or 2 weeks ago. But because of the general market sentiment over the time, AMD didn't like cash out or benefited from that pretty strong Q2 earnings and pretty decent outlook for the upcoming quarter. So if you look at AMD stock price in mid-July, it was as high as $184. And if you zoom that to earlier this year, it was sitting as high as 211. If you look at the stock price now, it's 148. That was down by almost 50%, even though it regains 10%-ish from past week, 8.71%-ish from past week. It was still a huge headroom ahead compared to Nvidia, which is just 10% less than its all-time high. There's just this huge potential for AMD to grow compared with Nvidia, and potentially any of them missing in the super high expectation to this company and to their outlook. So there are two conditions. One is Nvidia posted yet again a super strong earnings report, which is very likely to be. And Nvidia is going to benefit from that because it itself has a very strong Q2 earnings report and it has pretty decent outlook. And it didn't cash out, fully realize that because of the market downtrend in the early stage of this month. And AMD may very well benefit from that. And on the other hand, if there's any slip or any missing or even not beating that hard for the expectations from Nvidia, there's also a chance for AMD because AMD is the only rival in the high-end AI computational world. Now the world's AI computation is in. My thought is, just my personal opinion, AMD now has more potential, is less risky, and all the analysis point to a better play for AMD rather than Nvidia. So that's the whole reason I'm quitting Nvidia and I'm still holding AMD coming into the Q2 earnings of Nvidia in the next 2 weeks. I may very well stick to my plan, if not to add more shares to AMD. Okay, I want to also briefly mention Affirm. This stock, I made a video for it. It didn't receive well. It doesn't seem like many investors are interested in this. But I also offload the shares of Affirm, again, for a similar reason, because Affirm's Q2 earnings is coming. And at this point, I don't have enough information to confirm if it's going to have a wonderful Q2 earnings or disastrous that will have a lot of regression to its stock price. I'll just wait a little bit to see how it goes in the Q2 earnings. If it posts strong, which is a good indicator to this company, especially coming into the next quarter. Wow, what was that? Especially coming to the next quarter with all the interest rate cuts, benefit, and all that. Affirm is a pretty decent play, but for now, I don't want to, again, before confirming it's going to have a solid Q2 and a strong outlook, I'll just be refraining from Affirm at right this moment. Now, the last one I want to mention is Meta. So Meta is now sitting at a stock price of $527 after this trading day. It's down a little bit today after the trading, but it did pretty good too in the past 5 days. If not zoom out to 1 month, it's recovered from after its Q2 earnings from $450 all the way up to $527, very close to its all-time high of $540. I have a lot of friends from Meta. They're working there. They know they're all in AI, and this is very well be a very underestimated or undervalued AI company coming into the next quarter or next year. So I'm gonna pay a lot of attention to this stock, to Meta, this company. But before that, I need to do a little study, do a little analysis to this company, looking into its earnings report, looking into its outlook, as well as listen to the opinions of my friend who's working there. Maybe they have some insights into the path they're taking. And also there's going to be something to do with the US presidential election coming into later this year and next year. Definitely a lot of factors inside, but my initial opinion to Meta is there is a lot of potential opportunities. But again, I need to look into that and share with you guys. So if you like the content of this video, and if you like this channel, please consider to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.